おいっす。
This is a Japanese man, Yoshiro Kimura to be specific. In the early 1990s, he worked as a game developer with Square. You might have heard of them, they've made a couple games. Here he worked specifically on the Romancing Saga series, but him and a couple other guys weren't really happy with their roles there and decided to split off and form their own company where they could have a bit more creative control. Lovedelic had a fairly short run creating games from 1995 to 2000, only making 3 games in that time period, all of them being fairly niche even in Japan and none of them being localized at the time. The guys really didn't do too hot commercially. Despite this lack of success, they went on to leave a pretty big legacy of inspiration for themselves, which I think is a testament to what great developers they were. They make the kind of shit that really sticks with you. Everything about the way these games are designed is unique. Their games have this great experimental feeling. They're just trying out different ways you can play a video game and seeing what works. Lovedelic's most notable game is Moon Remix RPG Adventure. I'll just call it Moon though, it's sort of a long title. Yoshiro had a pretty huge role in the development of Moon, being a designer and scenario writer, and it's clear his experience working on this one influenced him a lot. I really like Moon, it's a great game in its own right. I could make a big long video talking about it as well. It's not what I'm focusing on right now though. Lovedelic clearly had a bunch of really creative guys working there. When it broke up, several companies went on to be founded by former members. Vanpool, Skip, and Punchline, which is headed by our guy Kimura here, which only went on to last for 4 years and made 2 games in that time. Vanpool and Skip both ended up going defunct as well, but that happened pretty recently actually. Skip went out after they made Ziplash, which is fair enough, but Vanpool worked on like Kirby and the Forgotten Land with HAL, and that game came out like yesterday. Punchline was gone pretty fast in comparison. It's like a guy who got shot in Vietnam versus his buddies who got PTSD and dementia and are scared all the time, you know what I mean. Anyway, out of the 2 games Punchline made, Rule of Rose is probably the most well known, which actually has a pretty interesting situation around it. It caused all sorts of controversy for allegedly being obscene and sexually perverse, and a bunch of people got really upset over it. This isn't actually true at all, it's tame enough for a psychological horror game. It's no Saya no Uta. Seems like false advertising to me. Rule of Rose was made because Sony specifically asked Powerline to make a horror game. Seems like they were kinda shoehorned into it, so they had to try their best to do something unique despite the constraints they were given. It's their first game, Chulip, that feels the most like it carries the influence of Lovedelic in both its gameplay and atmosphere. Chulip isn't always the most polished game, and there's a lot of bizarre design decisions throughout it, which caused the game to be panned by most Western critics. But I think there's something really cool behind the game's flaws, which I at least appreciate a lot. It was made by a small team of like a dozen guys who were mostly used to developing on the original PlayStation and had to adapt to the at the time new PlayStation 2. The game barely got off the ground in the first place, after Kimura had to leave Lovedelic's final project Lack of Love due to a heart condition. It's a game that had to overcome a lot of odds to be made at all. You can really feel how they were trying to make something special that would resonate with people because of that. So I try and cut these guys a little slack here and there on the more technical side. They're not trying to make the next $100 trillion HD narrative experience funded by the European Union. The game sold like shit even in Japan and was released as a GameStop exclusive in the US. But I really liked Chulip, so I want to talk about it. Wait, what is this? He said he wanted to make a sequel set in the Bronx. I don't know about that. I think it might be hard to maintain the comfy, laid-back atmosphere. You know, when you're smoking crack and drinking Hennessy with your side hoe in a Cadillac and blowing people's fucking heads off with your shotgun. Good fucking damn. Fuck, that's nice. Just look at that thing. Ew. Well, fuck. We have to name our character now. Okay, perfect. The game starts with a dream establishing your overall objective. To get with this girl here, it's a pretty memorable way to start things off. The hill here with the lover's tree on it is a pretty memorable location itself, and the little rant he does before he asks your name always sticks out in my head. There's cool like organ music playing too, I like the intro. Chulip's whole premise is based around kissing. Moon as a game is a very similar structure to Chulip, but along with the main goal of helping these little creatures, you could also get love, which are the points you use to level up from a variety of different things like interacting with NPCs and stuff. In Chulip, all of this is replaced with just kissing, which is definitely a less complex approach, but I think I like it more overall. I'll go into more detail later, but there's lots of variety in the different people you have to go after. It never feels like it limits the kind of quests the game has you do, and it has the advantage of being a very set in stone, easy to understand objective. You kiss people on their fucking faces. It doesn't get much simpler than that. In Moon, there's lots of cases where you don't really know what you exactly need to do to get love, and it makes it real difficult to get all of it. There's also the fishing competition you have to do. That shit makes me want to stick a fishing hook up my urethra. There's also the whole just like concept in general, which is pretty strange. You know, convincing everyone to kiss you. What's next? A game about convincing people to come back to your studio apartment for drinks, then slipping in like 20 Rohypnols and having your way with them. What about that, huh? But I mean, it's not that crazy. Chulip seems to be mostly known for its weird, quirky concept. I don't really think that does it much justice though. The game is sort of about love and seeking approval from your local community, so kissing people sort of works with that. Maybe, kinda, I don't know. Those Japanese people get crazy ideas in their head. There's actually a little story here about how Kimura came up with the concept. He had the idea after seeing people kiss in public in Western countries, which isn't really as common a thing over in Japan. The game starts off with you moving into a new town in this wonderful single-roomed establishment with our father. We're kind of poor, so you know, it's not a great place, but I think it's kind of charming. Our dad wants us to go say hello to our new neighbors. Sounds alright to me. We got here like 5 minutes ago, but we already have people shit-talking us. At least I fished this sweet potato out of the garbage. In this part, you're basically being introduced to a couple of characters that live nearby you. I really like almost all of these guys. Chulip can be a pretty wacky game at times, but a lot of that stuff is contained to the underground residents who I'll talk about later. The actual characters that live in Long Life Town are fairly down to earth, and they have their own unique problems they have to deal with. They really give the place a great atmosphere. The most important person you meet is the chick from your dream earlier, who gives you a whole shtick about how you kiss people. Oh, that sucks. Well, I mean, it's worth a shot anyway, right? You miss all the shots you don't take. Oh, fuck. It's over. She's laughing at me as well. I don't like this. It's getting too realistic. I'm going back to my cuck shack. You take damage in Chulip when you try and make unwanted advances on people, and also just from a bunch of other random shit, which can be healed by washing your hands or getting some supportive words from your dad, which is sweet. And you get more HP as you kiss more people. If you die though, you have to go back to your last save, which can be insanely frustrating depending on what part of the game you're in. I'm also sort of convinced the devs were just being little trolls in some places. Like, some of the shit you take damage from is just ridiculous. Just trying to play on the swings and stuff and you eat shit. And you're also getting bit by dogs and shot at by cops. Fucking shoveling feces out of the bin. I mean, there's just a lot of ways the game sort of punishes you for exploring around until you have a bunch of health you can work with. And I think you want to avoid that, especially in a game like Chulip, because you have such an amazingly charming little town. You should be able to explore around a bunch and interact with stuff without being afraid of getting injected with AIDS. What are we doing now? Writing a fucking letter? That shit is not gonna work. I mean, look at this. Chud's really gotta work on his literary skills. Add some metaphors or something. Okay, great. We can get into the center of town and send off this letter now. See, I knew the letter was a bad idea. I don't know if I like this guy poking his nose in our business though. It's like a guy coming up to you and trying to correct your posture at the gym, when you're just there to stare at women recording TikToks and make them feel uncomfortable. That guy invited us to his room here in the sewer. He's actually a pretty nice guy and gives you a tutorial on the game's basic mechanics with this onion lady. The game's underground residents have 2 different states they can be in. When they're mad like this, you have to walk slowly to approach them by tapping the analog stick very lightly. Once you fulfill a certain condition or just wait long enough, they'll go into this state. It's called Viva, and when they're like this, you can kiss them. The whole system's pretty simple, but they do actually use it for a few creative things. I just wish they did it more though, because a lot of them just boil down to waiting until they go into their Viva state. But the underground residents are only really one half of Chulip. They're all fairly easy to kiss and serve as progress points between the overground people, who all have proper quest lines attached to them. God, that's such an impactful sound effect. She just knocked my fucking block off. Well, that's the end of the tutorial, and our house has been all set up by our dad now. The next day, it throws you off into the deep end by introducing Chulip's most important mechanic, the time cycle, which is always visible with this big clock in the top right corner. I always like games that have time pass while you play. You can walk around in the evening while the sun's setting and it looks all nice. And Chulip is completely centered around the passing of time. Every character has a specific routine they follow and do different things at specific times, and you have to manage around it to get stuff done. Unlike Moon, there are no days in Chulip. In Moon, there was also a cycle of days of the week alongside the normal day-night one, and while I can definitely respect how ambitious that was, and how it gets used for some fun quests and stuff, it can also be really hard to manage at times. It can be really fucking stressful when you have to do something on a specific time and a specific day. If you mess up, you have to go back to your house and sleep through an entire week. At least if you mess up in Chulip, you never have to wait more than 1 day to try again, which can still really suck to be fair. You usually don't want to be waiting around when you're playing a video game. I think it's pretty hard to manage a constantly moving clock like this. There's a sort of balance you have to manage between not having time pass so fast it becomes stressful trying to go from place to place, but also not so slow you're left waiting around for ages. There are actually quite a lot of games with systems like these. They're sort of interesting to compare. Like Shenmue, I would definitely say is on the slower side, though it does give you lots of little distractions, which is nice. I think Chulip's attempt at this is pretty good. There are some points where you're going to have to wait around, but they're honestly not really that often. It's fine. I like that it never forces you to go home like these other 3 games. As long as you don't run out of health, you can stay out as long as you want. Okay, wake up, Chud, it's time to get moving. The game's actual plot is pretty loose and mostly gets sidelined in exchange for you going around and exploring at your own pace. But it starts here with you being accused of placing a large rock on the train tracks. Okay, we gotta go clear our name, and in order to do that we have to sort of stumble into this guy again who's complaining about being a wage cuck. Then go back to the train tracks where he steals this special letter set you need, and he breaks a rock, so that's that out of the way. The whole deal with the main plot is sort of weird. It feels like it's being set up to be some sort of significant part of the game, with your dad giving you updates from the newspaper whenever you make progress, but it basically gets completely dropped after this first area. I don't mind though, I like that it's pretty open and doesn't really hold your hand much. Okay, now that that stuff's out of the way, I can get to talking about Chulip's first area properly. Long Life Town is the game's biggest area, divided into 3 sections, and it's also sort of a hub world since you use the train station to access most of the game's other areas apart from 1. It also has the most actual people in it, having 11, while the other areas only have like 2 each. You end up having to go back and forth between it a lot, and it's the area where you spend the most time in the game, which I'm fine with. I really love how Long Life Town looks. It's actually what drew me into the game in the first place. Stuff like Shenmue or Persona 4 or whatever whatever. The small town atmosphere with all the realistic architecture is just so cozy. I also just really like the aesthetic of PS2 Dreamcast era games in general. I think Long Life Town is a great area though, and its mix of lively and upbeat to somewhat unsettling atmosphere pairs really well with the fact that you're just like a little kid wandering around unsupervised. Gives the game a special sort of feeling to playing it that I find really charming. Right now we've got like no health, so it's probably a good idea to go for some of the first underground residents you can kiss pretty easily here. This guy in the dustbin shows up pretty much immediately when you wake up. He's probably the easiest guy in the game to get. You just creep over to him and kiss him when he pops his head up. I've decided I'll talk about all of these guys because there honestly isn't that many of them, and most of them at the very least have like cool designs. A lot of them are pretty similar in gameplay though, so some of them are getting skimmed over. The actual difficulty with a lot of these guys isn't getting them in their Viva state, it's actually just running into them at all, since there's no way to know what time they'll show up at, which is why there is a manual included in the game which gave all their appearance times. The game basically requiring you to play using the manual obviously isn't great, and what's especially frustrating about this is how easily it could be fixed in game. All you'd have to do is put the time period each guy shows up at in the little hole where they live. This is only done for like a few of them. It's not like there's some secret method to figure out when they come out. The only reliable method is just to wait around a hole for a full day, which I think is too far. I think that's sort of just wasting the player's time, and it wouldn't completely remove the challenge either, since you still have a fairly short time period to figure out how you get them to kiss you, which can actually be pretty hard. Like for this guy where you play red light green light, or for this guy where you have to inform the FBI before he makes contact with the World Trade Center. I think part of me kinda does understand what the devs were going for. They wanted you to explore around and spend as much time in Long Life Town as possible, and sort of just run into things as you go along. I feel like if I was a child and this was one of my like 3 games on PlayStation, I would have just spent hours looking around for stuff to do, and it might have actually worked to a certain extent. But I'm an adult with a job at the dick-sucking factory, so I don't have time for that shit. Okay, some of the other guys in this first little area here. We have this boxer guy whose design I really like, and an elderly Jewish man. I don't know about kissing this one. There's also Rocket Man here from earlier. They all basically do the same thing where you just wait for them to finish their animation before you can kiss them. Considering these guys are all like right next to your house, it makes sense they're fairly easy to get. And there are some pretty complicated ones later on. And by later on, I mean now. Look at this guy. To get him, you need to know real-world information about the order of Japanese train stations. I feel like even if you lived in Japan, you wouldn't know this shit. Puzzle here is basically having a working internet connection so you can search the answer on Google. So it might be kinda hard if you're like Malaysian or something, but it's just sort of pointless for everyone else. Hey, we're at the park. Let's go on the fucking slide. Yes, I'm so fucking excited. Let's go, come on. Oh, fuck. That shit took out like 3 teeth. You'll never be able to bite into a juicy Wagyu steak ever again. You can go to the Lover's Tree now in the evenings to try and confess, but we still get cucked, so it doesn't really matter. In fact, it still doesn't matter even when we've gotten every kiss in the game. It's kind of a pointless feature, but I still go after every level up because I like the little flavor dialogue she gives you. Just another day in my fucked up chud life. I love this expression he does, by the way. It's his iconic chud stare, it's perfect. One of the first things you run into when exploring around town a bit more is this cutscene with your love interest parents, Goro and Julie. She's run away from home and sleeps in this big pipe here. It's a pretty sad situation. You can see clearly from this cutscene these guys' relationship isn't the best. It's one of those weirdly sort of down-to-earth parts of the game. Hey look, it's a woman. Fucking took long enough. You just have to wait until she trips and gets back up again. Hey, wait a minute. There's something off here. This is messed up. This is a game for little babies. This is just like that one time Sonic pointed up. Anyway, this guy's fine, and we have this dinosaur in the park as well. Okay, let's get on to some of the main content of the game here. Chulip's main gameplay is really unique, being almost sort of a detective style thing where you gather certain bits of information about the different characters in order to gain their trust and figure out how you can get them to kiss you. So I guess you're more like a sociopath than a detective, but it's fine. This style of gameplay where you go around getting information from different people to figure out how to proceed sort of reminds me of like Shenmue, but it's a lot less linear and hand-holdy than that game. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Shenmue, but it is sort of like go here, now go to this guy, ask about Chinese people. Chulip doesn't really guide you along like that. A lot of the stuff you sort of just naturally stumble into as you explore through the game, which I do think is cool most of the time, but it can be a little unfair. Like a guy who appears for like 1 hour of the day and has a 1 in 3 chance of actually giving you the information you need. I think that that's a little far. You get a lot of the information you need with these cards, which are a feature brought back from Moon. You can collect all the town members' cards and show them to each other. I really love this feature. Once you're invested in Long Life Town and all its characters, going around and just seeing what everyone thinks of each other is pretty fun. And actually being curious like this rewards you with information. It's cool, it's sort of like a mutually beneficial system, and the little tidbits and pieces of dialogue you get from them really make Long Life Town feel alive. One like tiny complaint though, using a card in this game gives it away, meaning you have to buy another one from the shop. In Moon, you just had one card you used, and I kind of preferred that. It's hard to manage everyone's cards anyway, since you have less inventory spaces in this game. Honestly, there should just be a separate fucking inventory slot for these. They're pretty crucial to the gameplay, and I like the cards. I want to be able to carry them around. Look at them. Compare them. Stab a homeless guy in the chest like 50 times. You can do stuff in pretty much whatever order you want, so we might as well start with this old bag. Quest is triggered by this newspaper mechanic. It's like the only thing it's used for. It's kinda weird, but basically she loses her dentures and becomes non-verbal, so you have to give her a hand. All you have to do is kiss this one underground resident. Then you'll get her dentures back and you can give them to her. This is probably the simplest as far as these quests go. As far as the old lady herself goes, she runs this candy shop. It's a pretty helpful place since all of her items heal you, and a few of them are also used for quests later on. Also, if you show her someone's card, she'll tell you their age, which is sort of interesting. She doesn't really have much personality though. Unlike this next guy, Leo. He's like a cool stone lion thing and he runs a local bathhouse. Leo might be one of my favorite guys. Anyway, if you go to his place, he'll tell you smell like shit and can't bathe properly. Leo is just really passionate about bathing, and in order to get him to like you, you have to find out how to bathe right. This is definitely one of the tougher ones. This fortune teller in the tunnel gives you the right set of actions to take. Now the conditions for getting this are pretty specific, but it's not totally up to luck. If you show Leo's card to Badayan, he'll tell you that the fortune teller has the information you need. Getting most of these guys' kisses requires going through their character arc or helping them out with some problem or something. Not for Leo though, his character arc's attached to a different quest. We can have a nice cup of tea with him now though. Mr. Cheapot runs a local pawn shop. He also has items you can use for quests and you can sell stuff to him as well to make money. It's a pretty useful location and it looks nice as well. I like this dog he has that he brings everywhere, and I'm just really glad that you can't pet him, and he also mauls you if you try to get near him as well. The first thing you need to do with him is sneak into a store at night. He'll start going on this whole monologue while mysterious music plays, and it'll ask you to find this statue he lost. I mentioned earlier on that Chulip is sort of detective-like gameplay, but most of the time what you're actually doing is just stalking someone or meddling in their personal affairs. This is one of the few times in the game someone actually asks for your help with finding something. Finding the statue isn't really all that difficult. During the evenings, your love interest will bring out a telescope you can look through, and you can see a bird flying over Leo's place. You have to go there and press on this door a few times to get up to where the statue is. I think the part where you have to press on the door a bunch of times to get up is supposed to stop you from going there before you find out about the quest. But you can technically still get there early. The bird will just peck the shit out of you for it, and you just get up and leave like the little cuck you are. Anyway, I think this is a fun one. He's really happy to have the thing back. It feels good helping out your local community and having all these people warm up to you as you progress through the game. Our reputation has actually improved a little now, but we still get cuckolded and called a pervert. So I guess I'll move away from Long Life Town for now and go in the direction the game wants me to, by heading on to the next area. There's still a bunch more shit you can do in Long Life Town, but some of the stuff requires you to go to these other areas first. So it makes sense to move on pretty early like this. Okay, Worldly Desire Temple, let's go. You know, it's kind of funny, I had like a little joke written here for this transitionary segment about Mango being Me Too'd. But I think in the time since I wrote that part, he was un-Me Too'd, so the joke doesn't really work anymore. I guess you just don't get anything. Okay, let's take the train. The train station in Long Life Town has 2 stops, and the trains show up and leave on a schedule at different times of the day, which makes sense, but it can be pretty annoying just like sitting around waiting. One thing I didn't even realize till I replayed the game though, is that you can reach Shonen Jump on the bench here to pass pretty large chunks of in-game time, which is like an insanely helpful feature. I use that shit like dozens of times. The only issue is that Chud's taking like 9 fucking hours to read a couple manga chapters. Is he an illiterate? You know? I'm sure he's just appreciating the skillful illustration. You can use the manga multiple times to pass time, but it does come with the risk of you getting to a boring part, which makes you rip up the comic and take damage from how bad it is, which means he must have gone to the Jujutsu Kaisen chapter. I do think this is a good mechanic with how it's balanced and stuff. It's easy to just throw in a thing that lets you skip to whatever time you want, which you actually do unlock eventually, but not until later on at least. Oh damn, they have someone on the kazoo. Oh, it's this guy. Oh fuck. Think he's being gang raped. Just get out of there at this point. They also steal the shit we need, and each one goes off to a different one of the game's locations. There is one right here though, so that's sort of convenient. I do always like exploring the new areas. One of the upsides of the minimal hand-holding Chulip gives you is you're just sort of dumped off here and have to get a feel for where everything is by exploring around yourself, which is always fun. Getting familiar with an area and learning its layout so you can find everything is sort of part of the challenge of Chulip, which I like. The first section of Worldly Desire Temple is this graveyard. It's pretty hard to navigate this area. It's almost like a maze in some places trying to get around, which is fairly accurate to real life graveyards, to be honest. There's also this scary Grim Reaper guy who follows you around at night, or at least I think he's supposed to follow you. He's pretty bad at that shit. He keeps like clipping off gravestones. I think he's retarded. This guy is also in this area and he wants us to get a wooden gong. Okay man, sure. First up here is this voodoo doll. You have to wait until he goes around the tree here, which is pretty basic. But guys in this area pack a punch. He took off like half my health. I was pretty high leveled as well for this point in the game. But you know, he's a nice little straw man. I like that they'll thank you after you kiss them. They're very polite. There's a Tengu too. I like Tengus, they're pretty cool creatures. He jumps around over these gravestones. You have to wait until he falls and hits his big nose before you can get him. Okay, let's see what's going on here. This fucking sucks. This is like the worst room possible. Look at this shit. This is like fucking Reddit r/male living space. Yeah, that tracks out, honestly. This guy does own though. He's one of the only ones who tells you what time he comes out at and when he leaves. And when you get his kiss, he cleans his toilet for you, which lets you save. Not being able to save in a new area can be pretty stressful, especially if you've made like a lot of progress or something. Getting him's a big relief. He's definitely one of my favorites. Okay, we're going to this temple next. What's this guy's deal? He's acting like a fucking Twitch streamer or something. Yeah, fine, here's your fucking donation. You have to donate like 500 yen or something before he'll talk to you, and you need to do this to start his quest line. I have plenty of money though, so it's fine. And then once you do that, he'll start showing up in Long Life Town as well, looking for donations, so you have to give him more money. And then when you do that, you get these cool incense sticks. Let's head back to the temple. Oh shit, can't believe they got him in this. Wonder how they paid for all the licensing. I mean, I guess it's not that surprising. They did also get Solid Snake and Dylan Klebold. Anyway, look at this guy. He has a little lily pad umbrella. He's adorable. There's a wizard here who's like zooming around and stuff, which is fine, but what's really important about him is this item he gives you. This apple that gives you a run button. There are lots of parts, especially later on in the game, where you have to get stuff done under time pressure, and you really don't want to fuck that stuff up because waiting around sucks. Not having to waddle around everywhere feels really good too. It's like taking the training penis weights off from your penis. I usually think quality of life stuff like this should be available from the beginning, but walking around all slow does at least teach you to manage your time well. Hey, that's a rude thing to ask. He's clearly preparing for his upcoming role in Suicide Squad. There's a magnifying glass you can buy that'll let you read all that shit. You get a cutscene where they've like really jarringly cut around the Japanese text. Not to be too harsh on the guys. I mean, they did do a pretty bad job, to be fair. Not even going into stuff potentially being lost in translation. There is just a bunch of typos in the game. I'm sure they tried their best with their 3-cent budget. Okay, now we gotta take the incest, then you go burn it on people's graves in the correct order, and get struck by lightning, and then we're done. I think most of this quest is fine, but I don't really like this last part. Having to find 6 different graves and doing that shit in order is just sort of tedious and not very challenging. Okay, well here's the fucking gong. This shit better sound fucking incredible. You better start doing like a 12-minute fucking solo on that shit. Is that even a thing, like a gong solo? You know what? Let's find out. Okay, what's this? JustImagineMusic.com, huh? Okay, skipping ahead a bit. Damn, she's got a bow. Anyway, that's fine. It's like cool ambient drone music. Like swans, like post-rock swans. Not bad for a raggedy old fucking... Well, that answers that question. Now let's actually hear what that shit sounds like. Anyway, I forgot to mention it, but we got the monk's kiss. Sort of unrelated, but I like that during this little ceremony, the monk's daughter Belle starts getting bored and falls asleep. I think that's kind of charming. Oh shit! Hey look, it's a bell. Let's ring the bell. Aw. I think I'll ring the bell anyway. It'll make like a fun little noise or something. Wait, what's that? Fuck, sorry man. Doing that apparently gave this guy like a really nasty disease. But that basically starts the next half of Worldly Desire Temple's quest. We have to go get some shit from Chulip back in Long Life Town to continue though. Wake the fuck up, you dumb bitch. It's like 11 o'clock. I guess I'll just go read manga for 11 hours. Actually asking for the wine here causes this whole prolonged sequence between Goro and Julie. It's sort of weird, this is just like thrown in between this unrelated quest. I remember in my original playthrough I did have like a Drake on the computer moment here, because I spent ages looking around the bar trying to find a way to get these guys kisses when it turns out I just had to wait for this shit. Anyway, you have to feel bad for Chud here. He didn't even fucking ask to be involved in this situation. He just wants to get his drink and they're airing all their shit out on him. I mean, he's what, like 13 or something? He's gonna have to spend like 2 hours a week at a child psychiatrist when he could be doing cool shit like playing video games instead. Oh god, this is getting nasty. Anyway, the result of this whole domestic dispute is the cops show up and arrest Goro. I feel kind of bad for him. I mean, I know he did throw that bottle of wine in his wife's face, but the violence here is like mutual, so it's okay. Their relationship is one of the most striking parts of the game, especially this scene in specific with how it comes out of nowhere and everything. Well, got our wine, I guess. Shit. Just getting abused at this point. Hey look, she's a cute girl. I guess all this was worth it after all. Anyway, I like Belle, so I think this part is cool. The only problem is this one black stick we got isn't enough, so you have to go back and get another one. We're nearing the end of this whole section of the game, and there's a sort of climax to the arc here where you have to fight this little freak. I mean, we've just been getting fucked all game, so it's about time we did something cool. Look at him, he's doing a pose. I'm happy for him. I think he deserves this. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. You aren't welcome here. Dirty little fucking... Wait, what? Look at how fucking disappointed he looks. I'm not sure about Chud's intentions here. I think he's trying to be like one of those guys who reads like feminist literature on a public bus, hoping to get like a nice little piece of gash. Well, sorry about that. Belle actually has a whole sort of backstory that's revealed here. She's one of these guys that the monk felt bad for and raised. She's pretty upset at first, but you encourage her to come around because she loves her dad. It's sweet. I think ending off this whole chapter of the story with an emotional moment like this works pretty well. Belle's another one of my favorite characters, even just her character design I really like, even with the big fucking bell on her head. Worldly Desire Temple is another strong area environmentally. It's a nice like contrast from how busy Long Life Town feels to go to this peaceful temple place. I think the structure of just being able to explore around is really strong. The other area's main quests are all much more involved, with one even sort of getting rid of this structure entirely. But Worldly Desire Temple is probably my favorite just because it's real relaxed, which is where Chulip is at its best. Goro is in prison, being taken advantage of. So we're going to go right to the next area, Scarecrow Fields. I'm actually not really sure which area is meant to come next. You can do any of them. But Funny Bone Factory is like slightly gay. We run into the person we need right off the train. But she won't give us a letter until we believe in UFOs. So you think we'd just like lie to her or whatever, but that doesn't work. Chud probably can't wipe that stupid smirk from his face. Scarecrow Fields, like all the other areas in Chulip, is really detailed. Even though the game's areas are mostly pretty basic stuff like fields and towns and shit, you can tell they're all based on real places that these guys value. And there's a lot of effort put in to make them feel exciting and interesting. Every area is just like full of stuff. It's really densely packed in there. I think this is really clear in Scarecrow Fields because it's literally just like one square of land. But they've managed to pack all these lovely looking places in there. Look at these. It also is the best track in the game. Chulip's music is like really unique. I haven't really seen anything even kinda like this attempted before, so I think it's cool. The soundtrack is mostly a cappella, which for the uninitiated means it's mostly made up of vocals. So there's like choirs and even this weird sort of scat stuff. Man, I love Louis Armstrong. I can't believe he did all that shit and went to the moon. I think it does a good job of matching the sort of lively, energetic feel a lot of the game's areas have. The songs are done by this guy, Hirofumi Taniguchi, who made the music for Chibi Robo and a bunch of other love-to-lick games and is currently with Onion as well. I watched this interview he did for some Chibi Robo fan game. It was kinda interesting. He said he didn't like music with lyrics. I bet he'd love post-rock. You know, if it was good. I also really like the absence of music in places. At nighttime, all the really lively music just gets shut off in exchange for ambience. There's just like dogs barking and bugs chirping, weird alarm sounds. I really like the sound design in these parts. It sort of feels like you're doing something wrong even just being out this late. It's a little spooky with the cop scanning for you with his headlight eyes. And the AIDS guy as well. I also really like the lighting at night. The way that light seeps out of buildings and off of headlights is just great. I think it adds a lot to the atmosphere of this part. Even outside of the nighttime, I think Chulip has great sound effects in general. There's all sorts of weird little like stings that happen at different parts of the game. You can get your own little intro music when you wake up in the morning like you're Seinfeld. The characters' voices are another thing that stick out. They're done sort of like Banjo-Kazooie. Being sounds, it sort of just give an impression of what a character is supposed to sound like roughly. But instead of just like random grunts or moans or whatever, they've taken actual samples of people talking and cut them up and put them in a rearranged order. They did this in Moon as well, and it sounds really good. Just another cool little thing that sets these games apart. Hey, it's a big clam. Oh my god, it's gonna fucking kill the poor thing. I don't really know why she's thanking me. That was extortion more than anything. These next two guys are unique because they're two underground residents that actually interact with each other. One of them is a sniper and the other's a target. In order to get the target, you have to get rid of the sniper first. You have to follow behind him to get him, but it is actually pretty tough because he has a gun and can shoot you. I like his design. He has cool like school shooter vibes going on. We can go after the target now and oh my god, he's jerking off. Look at him, he's totally jerking off in there. What's gonna spill? This guy's fucking cum all over the toilet bowl, I bet. That is disgusting. I wish I'd stop doing it in public at least. This is a guy who cleans the toilet in this area as well. I think I'll just wait till I get home to save, to be honest. We also have this spider. This might be the only guy who I just forgot about completely. Just sort of spins around. Not really very fond of this one. There's a little area off in the corner here where you can grow plants. The problem is the only plant used for any quest is the eggplant, and you're not guaranteed to get one from these seeds you buy. So you have to cross your fingers and really fucking hope you get that eggplant. Otherwise you have to take the train all the way back to buy more. Once you have it though, you can bring it back to Worldly Desire Temple to get an underground resident. I like this puzzle actually because you see this eggplant guy and you don't know what to do with him. Until later when you find the eggplant and are like, oh, I bet I have to bring this to that eggplant guy. It requires a little bit of thought, which I like. Another thing about Scarecrow Fields is there isn't really anyone there. Other than the sign thing, all this shit here is run by the Scarecrow, but he doesn't want to talk to us now. I don't know what about us makes him nervous. But in order to continue the plot, you have to head back to Long Life Town and look through the telescope again. Oh hey, it's a UFO, that's convenient. How is this shit not enough? He saw the thing with his own damn eyes. You can even go over to Scarecrow Fields and look at it and the music changes and stuff. Guess he's just a good science-loving little Goyim. He'll need a few more sources first, which you can get by talking to the alien that landed here. Or you could, but he doesn't speak the same language as us, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I would never judge someone based on their nationality. But the process you have to go through to be able to communicate with him is pretty long-winded. You have to get these 4 books and use them at this rock to be able to understand what he's saying. And some of these books are like the hardest items to find in the game. Like you have to show people's cards around to find out about this fucking gum you have to eat. In this specific spot at exactly 5 PM, I think it's just a bit much. And also, when you do it, you like turn tiny and get bored. Like in the video game, it happens. Anyway, we can use these now to understand what this guy's saying to us. And he immediately gives us a list of more shit to get him. Frying pan, refrigerator, computer. Sure is asking us for a lot of stuff. Why do I have to get all this? Why don't you get a job? Steal like copper wire off telephone poles or something. To be fair, I can't pull out like 20 refrigerators from this one tiny trash can. The item that's real hard to get is the computer, because you have to buy it from the store, but it costs a bunch of money. You get cash after you kiss underground residents and by selling junk from the trash can to Cheap Hot. I think the economy is managed pretty well so far. You can usually buy just enough of what you need, but you can't like go overboard and buy 5 popsicles. That would be going a little too far. Also, as I mentioned before, you have limited inventory space, so you can only really carry what you need at one time. And it works fairly well for most of the game until this part, but you need to sell like dozens of refrigerators to afford this thing, which means you have to go back and forth on the train a bunch of times to get more. It's a whole ordeal. To be fair though, the underground residents in this area are also adjusted to give you a bit more money to help you out. They each give like 1 to 2,000, but you still have to grind quite a bit. This is one of the guys you get a bunch of money from. You have to tiptoe by him 50 times to get his kiss. You can't do that in one day, so you have to keep coming back to him as the number carries on over multiple appearances. It actually doesn't end up being that bad since we're going back and forth from Scarecrow Field a lot anyway. You can also just bring manga to pass time quickly and get it done fast. Get out of the way, monkey. It's pretty satisfying when you finally get it done. I like that he doesn't have a real name or anything, he's just called 20-year-old guy. And the design's sorta neat too. Sorta reminds me of when Shinji sat in that chair. You know, if you've ever seen that image posted on the internet. There's also this invisible man that appears at nighttime. I actually didn't find him in my first playthrough, and I didn't seek him out this time either. I just sort of ran into him. You have to follow him while he rants about how his family just wants to suck him dry for his money. And then he'll give you his fortune because you talk to him for 5 minutes. Wow, I mean, $3,000, that's almost a whole third of the computer. How the fuck did he get all the way over here? Did he take the train? Okay, I've sold all those refrigerators so I can finally buy that computer. When you give him his stuff, the shack over here turns into this weird music box that he can use to call for help from his pals back home. Or he could if he didn't forget his password. This guy's a serious fuck up. This is a really long quest, but it's compensated by being basically the area's only one. You can find these seeds in the grass over here, and if you plant them, they'll give you his password. Oh, it's a monkey. Well, that's nice, I guess. Everything's sorta come full circle. There's something about this one that feels extra gratifying to finish. Part of it's probably just because it takes a long time to do, but I also really like this whole sequence at the end with the UFO. I think the low angle shot pointed up at the night sky just makes it feel extra dramatic. I always remember this end of area jingle part. The aliens even broke this rock that was here for us, and we get a banana from it. You can eat it to restore all your health, or even better, sell it and get all the money you spent on the computer back. By the way, I really like being able to just sell this guy shit, from the garbage can, and he just takes it all happily and gives me 2 coins and thanks me. I think that's really neat. Fucking cuck. Honeybone Factory is still the next area on the list, but there are a bunch of loose threads back in Long Life Town that we can do now that we've progressed a bit. Will Goro finally be released from prison? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Hey, it's me, Goku! Is that all you got, faggot?
My good pal came into my house and deeply traumatized my father by flashing his AK-47 in his face. On the bright side, he did also fix my clock. I mentioned this earlier, but this lets you choose what time you wake up at after you go to bed. So as long as you're near your house, you can skip around to whatever time you want, with the only real disadvantage being you have to hear your father express his disappointment for you. I hear that enough in real life though, so it doesn't really affect me. I don't have much to add on this mechanic other than I think introducing it at this point was probably the right call. If you're through Scarecrow Fields, you probably already have a good grasp of what's going on in Long Life Town, and can get use out of skipping around. Remember Michelle? She invited us to her place all the way back on the first day. I wonder what that's all about. Oh, I like interesting stories. Ooh, that's a tough one. Guess if I had to say something, it would probably be because I jerk off 10 times a day until I get friction burn on my penis. Oh, you know what? I think it probably is that. You're probably right. That makes a bit more sense. She's basically pitching us on this weird cult thing she's a part of. She asks us what problems we have. No girlfriend. Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty big one. Michelle's another good character. In basically all your interactions with her up until this point, she's been a really mean, spiteful bitch. And it turns out this is because she's having all her actions restricted by this cult. She's not allowed to complain about anything, so she's always sort of forcing positivity. That shit does take a toll on you. All that stress might be the reason she looks ancient. She's supposed to be 29 years old. That's worse than being a Norwood 5, just brutal. Sneaking into her garden at night, we can find out how much she hates us and also how much she likes eggplants. Okay, I know what I have to do. Oh fuck, she's tweaking out. This is just bad news. Not the pots and pans, just take the fucking eggplant. She really loves those things. I wasn't really sure what happened here at first, but if you talk to her the next day, she'll tell you she left the cult. Good for her, I guess. She now eats a bunch of eggplants when she walks around and seems much happier. Look, there's this Mexican guy here. Red light, green light is a pretty fun idea for one of these. Even though this guy is one of the more complex underground residents, it isn't that hard to grasp what's going on here. Like, you see him with his back facing you, occasionally turning around, and you sort of just intrinsically get that it's red light, green light. He also stays out for longer than most underground residents, so it gives you time to figure out what's going on. The guy next to him is another unique one. You have to stare at him for a bit until he gets all embarrassed and runs away, and you have like a little sliver of time to nab him, sort of testing your reaction time. Wow, we're at level 8 now. That's pretty close to the end. The max level is 10, but just those last 2 levels require almost as much as the rest of the levels combined. We still have a decent bit to go here. If we go up to the tree and confess to her now, she still slaps us, but she does actually apologize after, so I guess we're getting there. We have to do something about the AIDS needle guy. He turns evil in the night and we have to cure him. Sneaking into the hospital at night, you find out you need this bug and a frog, which are just things you find in the trash. I think it's sort of charming you actually find uses for all this stuff you just fish out of the garbage. Like, you'd sort of just write this stuff off at first, but pretty much every item does something. The quest isn't as easy as it seems though. You have to make sure you have the right kind of bug and frog by talking to Batayan and Leo respectively, and he can now finally get a good night's sleep. Dr. Dandy is one of the more bland characters in terms of personality. One fun thing you can do with him though is show people's cards to him, and you get to see what different diseases they have. Goro is definitely a bug chaser, but the diseases are actually just different characteristics people have spelt backwards. There's 2 underground residents in Long Life Town that just require you to have a certain threshold of HP to get. One where you have to survive jumping off this ledge, and another with this ball in the park. I like the fat Chinese spinning around by their ponytail. Yamada's also hanging out in the park. Looks pretty depressed. I guess we should ask what's up. You know what? I can relate to that. I've changed my mind about Yamada. I like him now. I have a sad announcement to make. Evil Western localizers have struck again and removed Yamada's little cock from the video game. He had a little cock on him in the Japanese version, and they removed it. Okay, let's go get Goro. He's been waiting around enough. You have to get arrested yourself by violating these 3 rules in order to go get him. It's a pretty fun quest. It's sort of exciting doing all this illegal stuff. Okay, first is smoking cigarettes. It's sort of funny because you buy these from the store for like 500, which is quite a lot of money, and smoking them just gives you black lung and kills you immediately. It's supposed to be like a good message for the children. The next one's a little bit more complicated. You have to sneak out of the bathhouse behind Leo's back naked in order to break the keep clothes on rule. It's interesting how you have to sort of bend the game's mechanics during this part by sneaking out of the bathhouse like this. I'm not gonna start talking about ludonarrative dissonance in my Chulip video, that would be kinda retarded, but I mean in the context of the game, as the character Chud, there's no reason why we would have to go through the bathhouse. I mean, you could just take your fucking clothes off. It just feels a little bit wrong in a way. Obviously beyond just being naked in public, but also in like a going out of bounds sort of way. I don't know, at the very least it makes for a good puzzle. There's actually a surprising amount of stuff you can do in this naked state. There's an underground resident you can only get like this. You can walk around town and everyone has unique dialogue and stuff. You can get called a pervert some more. I think there's a running theme there. Sort of like a fetish thing. I appreciate the effort though, that's the important part. What does the graveyard mean? Is he gonna like shoot me? I'm not black, I don't know what the issue is. Anyway, we then tell Julie her husband's probably dead and she doesn't react well to the news. This thief guy taunts you basically the entire game, just stands there all smugly outside of the bar, and it's only now that Julie's ran out we can actually get him. Being serious, I would say it is sort of an issue. Except for the eggplant guy, no other underground resident requires any prerequisites. They wanted this guy to have a role in this story event where you commit your last crime. They do give you some hints, but they could have made it a little clearer that you can't can't get this guy yet, especially considering he's probably gonna be one of the first underground residents you run into. Anyway, he drops the key to Julie's safe, and we can steal her shit to commit our last crime and finally get arrested. I don't know why it's so hard to get arrested in this game, like the fucking 3 strikes and you're out system. Trust me, they do not have that in real life. My buddy got arrested once for trying to go fishing.
They are again, a long line of grown men online, targeting kids.
I was going fishing.
It sounds like what you were fishing for was sex with a 12-year-old girl.
I'm crucified like Christ. This is kind of how it feels like to live life as a chud. You're in these little rooms shaped like PlayStation controllers and have to press the right buttons to free Goro here. I quite like this whole sequence, it's pretty exciting. I'm sure it doesn't look like that just watching this video, but there's a lot of build up to this shit, it's cool. Goro and Julie finally sort out their differences, and they apologize to each other, it's sweet. And we also get Julie's kiss this way, and she even gives us her approval to date her daughter. You know, I didn't even consider that up until this point, but her and Goro are probably the most important guys to win over. It's gonna be like really awkward at Christmas dinner if we don't. It's sort of fucked up Goro still doesn't like us even after we released him from prison. Maybe he liked life on the inside. Goro used to be a director, so we have to get to his heart through his love of cinema. Goro's such a real character, I fucking love him. He's just really washed up and old and pitiful. All he does is sleep and drink. It's like really bleak. A huge amount of Chulip's appeal to me is the characters and how realistic their struggles feel. If we go by this criteria, I think Goro is easily the best character in the game. Even in his character arc where you help him, you're trying to get him to give up and accept that his directing career is over, which is better than living in denial, but is still sort of sad in its own right. I think he's great anyway. His actual quest is done by showing him one of his old movies and then telling him you hated it. I don't know why he values the opinion of a 14-year-old boy on his indie horror film. He probably likes like Stuart Little or some shit. Now that we've got Goro, this movie theater, which has been shut down for the entire game, is now open at night, and you can watch these movies that you've collected throughout the game. I don't really understand what's going on, but I think it's kinda cool. There's actually one thing left to do in Worldly Desire Temple that you can't do until you're level 8, but it's another good one, and it involves Leo from earlier. A spirit appears late at night in this specific area of the graveyard that brings you here to this girl, Zombie Mika. I think this old like gothic looking garden area is neat. You have to sit down and have tea with Zombie Mika multiple times, which sounds like a nice time, but it's really sort of depressing. I mean, she's dead obviously, and she's sort of like a dementia patient. As you keep visiting her, she loses more memories of when she was alive, and the deterioration is physical as well. Her arm falls off at one point. Sad stuff. Her tea also sucks. I never have the heart to tell her that though. It deals a bunch of damage, which is why we couldn't do it until now. You're probably wondering how this loops back to Leo though. It's shown when you're having tea with him, and he starts talking about his girlfriend in high school who got hit by a car. The way this is done is really cool. He sort of just drops it out of the blue and ruins the vibe. Just makes everything really uncomfortable. You've probably already figured it out, but Mika is Leo's old girlfriend. In your final visit to her, she'll give you some herbs to put in Leo's tea, and you bring her eyeball as well so she can see him drinking it, which gives her the closure she needs to move on. I always find it kinda sad how Leo never really learns what's going on. I guess it would just be kinda awkward because she didn't age or anything, and now he's a 41-year-old stone lion man. Seems like he's doing alright for himself. I think the subversion of your expectations is part of what makes these more serious story arcs in Chulip so impactful. The game sort of just looks silly, like with all the Muppet characters, and for the most part it is fairly silly, which I think enhances these sudden moments of harsh realism. I think Leo himself just as a character is a great representation of this, because he's both a tragically bereaved man with this sort of air of loneliness around him, and also a big fucking lion for some reason. Like, I really don't know if it's meant to be like a costume or what. Level 9, wow. It's sort of weird to me that you can get all the way up to the second last level without even stepping foot in Funny Bone Factory. I don't think you're meant to get every single underground resident in an area though. You're supposed to miss a few here and there. The devs clearly didn't account for someone like me. I didn't mention it earlier, but you get a title for each level. Like the first level is Poor Boy, and now we're Frisky Man or Ecchi Man in the original Japanese, which sounds like a cool superhero or something, but it's sort of a downgrade from level 8 because now she's afraid to be around us. Well, anyway, Funny Bone Factory. The guy with the last piece of the letter set is right here, but he gives us the hardest task yet to get it. We have to get a job and get promoted to a certain rank. Unfortunately, the factory isn't hiring children, and if you try and sneak in, you get comically shot out of a large cannon. There's one underground resident in this courtyard, and once we've got them, we have to immediately head back. It's kind of underwhelming, but hey, we've been to all the train stations now, so we can get a kiss from the conductor, which unlocks the option to buy an unlimited free pass for the train, which is actually fucking useless because it costs just way too much money to be worth it, especially now in late game. I don't even think, being as inefficient as possible, you could spend close to that much on train tickets. They cost like nothing. He should have been like a few thousand. Badian's always talking about how he wants a job because he's poor, so we can give him a flyer for the factory and he'll start working there. And you'll get a thing in the mail which lets you tour the factory. If you get up early enough, you can take the train there with him. He doesn't seem to be adapting to his new lifestyle very well. He's getting all philosophical with us. I am really too fond of Funny Bone Factory's overall gameplay, but what I do think it does very well is being sort of a narrative experience, showing how unfulfilling and dehumanizing this daily cycle of manual labor can be. Anyway, I like the little conversation you have with Badian. It's only a few lines of dialogue, but I think they're nice little pieces of characterization. Also, why'd he bring his guitar? Is he gonna like play Wonderwall for his co-workers in the break room? Try and fuck one of those weird doll things. That shit is slightly gay, sorry man. The first time you go through Funny Bone Factory, there aren't actually any underground residents or anything like that. You just visit different places across the factory and talk to NPCs. You can't just skip to the gameplay like halfway through the tour, but I actually think this part is great and sort of illustrates the area's themes I was talking about earlier really well. As you go through, you talk to different ranks of workers, starting with people at the beginning of their careers and ending with more senior employees. The guys at the beginning are fairly optimistic, working hard for promotions and stuff, and you see the employees just get more and more disillusioned and miserable, even though it's a big departure from Chulip's previous areas, being just like a linear run through. I think this whole segment flows pretty well and does a good job delivering the point they're going for. This last area you visit in the evening is an especially sort of melancholic atmosphere about it, which I like. We have to bring this letter we got from one of the employees to the Scarecrow. God, Badian's even more depressed on the way back. You can tell from the way he looks that the Scarecrow used to be a factory employee, and if you sneak into his house at night, his diary will have a code to the factory's secret safe. It's nice to finally get some context into who this guy is. Since he has this code in the first place, it's safe to assume he was probably a pretty high-ranking employee, but he quit to work on this farm. I like that they intersect these two areas with each other like this. It does a great job of making the world feel more lived in. I think Funny Bone Factory is also mentioned at the beginning of the game as well. Like, they aren't just maps you walk across, there are actual places that all these characters visit. Anyway, I'm glad there's at least one dull person doing well for themselves with his trad lifestyle. Better than working in a factory 12 hours a day, I guess. We can head back and get into the meat of Funny Bone Factory's actual gameplay now. By hiding during the tour and waiting until night, an area where you explore a factory at night is a great concept, but I don't know, this just doesn't really do it for me like the other areas. I think it's because you're outside just on these plots of land, and you have to use this train to move between the areas. Doesn't feel like you're in a factory or exploring, and it's just really disconnected. Just feels like you're being forced to move between 4 identical squares. And even if this was the best, most immersive area possible, you have until morning to do things in Funny Bone Factory, which really isn't a lot of time at all. And every single time you want to get back into the area, you have to redo the tour and do this stupid fucking exercise and talk to all the NPCs. Just fucking exhausting, and the windows to get certain underground residents are unbelievably tight, and getting these guys just isn't as fun, because you're not just like bumping into them as you explore around. There's nothing to fucking do in Funny Bone Factory at night except get these guys and go to the vault. I mean, they're clearly trying to have this be a more challenging area, and I do understand that. It forces you to manage your time well. You can't just sit around jerking off. You have to memorize what codes on this train take you where, when does each guy come out, maybe take some notes. But the pain of having to sit through the same fucking cutscenes and sequences over and over just kills it for me, I'm sorry. I think what it really needs is just a way to skip this part after you do it for the first time, honestly. There are still some issues there. It wouldn't be my favorite area, but it would be much better without actually being all that hard to do. I'd still hate Michael Phelps here though. This guy fucking stinks. He's in the vault area we have to get to, and for even like a chance of getting him, you just have to bolt immediately. The time window is just sort of insane here. But hey, we got inside the vault now and became CEO of the Funny Bone Factory. I immediately donated $2 billion to APAC. I was really excited when I got this. I thought it was going to be really cool, but it's sort of underwhelming, honestly. First of all, getting this would be like the perfect opportunity to let you skip the opening sequence, and you'll still get kicked out by these security guards if they find you. The way they do this is really shocking. They're like actually rough with you. It's mildly distressing. It would sort of remove the area's challenge if you had free reign to just walk around wherever, but it just feels weird how little control we have considering we're CEO. I at least wish we got like a cool suit or a quarter zip or something. We're still wearing the same shit from when we were a manager. All the underground residents here are standard issue except for this jigsaw guy, where you have to find the other half of his face and give it to him. It's an easy enough concept, but considering the limited time window you have, it's easy to fuck it up. Being the boss of the Funny Bone Factory does let you fire your employees. At this point, it's pretty obvious what you have to do with Badian. He wants to quit his job, but he just doesn't have enough confidence to do it. By showing his card to people, you can find out that he used to be rich, but his dad's company collapsed and now he doesn't have any money, which makes a lot of sense considering his whole arc is around him being unsure of what path to take in life, now that the one he probably thought he was going down was taken away. Even though he doesn't make much money as a musician, it brings him more fulfillment. Now, I'd usually say I'm pretty staunchly pro-employment. There has to be some guy just sorting boxes all day or whatever, but in Badian's case, he's just not good at it or going anywhere in the company, and it just makes him really want to kill himself. So I think him focusing on his music is probably the right idea. Badian's sort of a timid guy, but I think that just makes him feel really authentic. They sort of go out of their way to have this whole section of the game focus on him by intertwining his quest and the area's main one, and you're both fish out of water together at the Funny Bone Factory. I mean, like, literally. It all just makes you really sympathize with him leading up to this eventual conclusion where you can help him out, and it feels really good when you do. I like Badian, even if he's an unemployed bum. There's also some other guy in like a bulldozer. I actually forgot to write about him in my script, he's just not there. He's sort of boring, I don't think you're really missing out on much. After you've kissed him, Badian will play a song for you. He's really passionate about his music, I wonder if he's any good. Yeah, I'm feeling a light 5 on this one. Sorry, Badian. All the kisses, we did it. Yes. Yes. All that's left now is to send off our letter. This shit again. It's sort of weird. We're actually supposed to go to the park to send the letter. Oh no. Does that mean my dad is one of those things? Why am I normal? Guess I was a adopted or something, I don't know, it doesn't matter. I don't have time for that shit. We have to go down this hole that Yamada was digging earlier. There's 3 trials you have to pass in order to reach the end of the game. This area is a really strong atmosphere. This endless staircase with a bunch of doors and windows feels almost sort of surrealist. All of this place, including all the trials, feel like something out of a dream. It's really cool. The actual purpose of the trials himself is also sort of genius. It's basically the devs testing if you've played their game right. If you've taken your time in Long Life Town and collected information on everyone as the game encourages you to, it really shouldn't be that difficult. But if you just brute forced your way through or used a guide, it'll be almost impossible. They really wanted you to get to know all these guys. As much as it can be annoying how the game will refuse to direct you, working stuff out for yourself and helping the people in Long Life Town is a really satisfying feeling. If the game was made with a more traditional handholdy structure, I just don't think it would work. The difficulty just sort of makes sense. Most people probably don't want help with their personal life from a 14-year-old boy they don't know. The distance the characters hold you at first feels very real, and the way you help more characters and get them to like you as you grow more familiar to Long Life Town as a setting made it easy for me to really love the place, in a way you only could with a little bit of tedium. This is something that I think gets forgotten in the way a lot of modern games are designed. Things like making you grind or wait around or having difficult controls are just written off because there's always going to be a certain percentage of players that just don't like them. But I think if they're done intentionally and with purpose, they can be used to great effect. I can't help but be reminded of stuff like this every time I see another horror game remake remove tank controls, or just people in general complaining about a game having clunky controls. People who say the Persona calendar system is boring, that actually really pisses me off. It's only with design like this that challenges the player's usual expectations that you can create something truly unique. Let's go mail that letter. I know I haven't addressed this. I kind of regret calling her that now. I mean, it's just sort of crass and rude and not funny. I'm sorry, okay? I repent my chud ways. I have a lot of respect for women. Because Chulip's ending has been set up since the beginning of the game with this dream sequence, it doesn't really majorly take you off guard or anything, but I think it still feels really satisfying to loop back around like this. We finally did it. After being beaten and abused, and everyone standing around in a circle clapping for you. This is great. Trying to live up to Moon's ending was always going to be hard. The way it's set up with these really cool foreshadowing cutscenes, and still manages to take you off guard and just fucking hit you when you realize that this moment and message is everything the game's been leading up to since the first moment you turned it on. I'd go into more detail, but it just feels like a waste to even spoil it. It's one of the best endings in any game, honestly, which is why it sort of feels unfair as a comparison. But trying to remove the influence Moon has on Chulip is just impossible. It's very much a spiritual sequel. I think when you put this into context, Chulip going for something simple but touching is better than trying to outdo Moon's dramatic ending. I love Chulip. It may not be the best game to come out of this whole love-delict circle of influence, and it certainly isn't the most polished or well-designed. Like, if you just go in blind, there's probably going to be a bunch of times where you've no idea what to do. You're going to just want to release your incel rage and smash a big hole in your monitor. But if you push through that, all the great characters, personality, and details poured in Long Life Town make it a worthwhile experience, and one of my favorite games. I hope it gets a re-release or something at some point, Kimura went on to work as a producer on the first two No More Hero games and is currently at his own indie company Onion, who did a re-release of Moon a few years back. So it's technically possible, but it doesn't seem very likely, unfortunately. Onion released Straight Children, their newest and final RPG, just a little while ago now. I was honestly sort of worried it would be very similar to Chulip, and not comparing its mechanics would sort of date this video, but it's honestly more inspired by Undertale than anything else, which is sort of funny. I think it's neat though. I know I just spoiled like most of the game, but there's probably still some stuff I missed. I think if it seems interesting to you, you should give it a shot.
おいっす。